Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I learnt to dive for all the wrong reasons. Firstly, despite being a good water person and a good swimmer and loving the ocean and growing up in a very good place to swim, I was always very concerned that my ears were going to hurt, because if I duck dived, my ears would hurt. And so I thought, well, I couldn't possibly dive. But I was in Montserrat, and I was waiting for my Australian visa to come through to go back to Australia, and I met a man who was on hurricane aid relief. He was an American, and he was repairing the High Line, or the electricity. And we were on Montserrat for a while, and then he and his crew got transferred to Jamaica, and off they went to Jamaica, which was like devastating. So I thought, well, I've never been to Jamaica. I'll just go, and I'll help with the hurricane aid relief, and that'll be great. So I packed up all my stuff and I hopped on a plane and I went off to Jamaica. And I discovered pretty quickly that they worked long hours, 6 days a week, and a few of them had learnt to dive. And on the 7th day, yes, they wanted to go diving. And I thought, well, if I want to see this man, I'd better learn to dive. So I signed up and I did my dive course in Jamaica with the most wonderful woman. And on my very first dive, we went off the edge of a reef in the northern part of the island. Not that I really knew how great that was at the time. I was very lucky, but it was a beautiful day and the water was clear and the reef was lovely. And I was bumbling along thinking how nice this was, and when out of the blue swam an enormous blue-spotted eagle ray, and he flew through this clear blue sea, and he flew all the way around me, and then just, went off back out into the blue. And I was mesmerized and hooked, and that I couldn't get enough of diving after that. I was just diving all the time as long as I could. And in fact, that was the best thing that came out of that relationship, was my learning to dive. Unfortunately, he didn't last very long, but my diving has been an enduring love. And I came back to Australia and I continued to train. I did my ticket in 1990 and I got my instructors in 1993. I was a journalist by trade, or am a journalist by trade. From that, I became editor of Scuba Diver magazine, which was a fantastic 8 years of my life, where I got to try new things and new products and new training, and it was a great time. I also discovered I knew nothing at all about diving, and that there were all these different areas of diving. I had no idea. I was in a little bubble, sort of recreational instructor bubble, and there was this whole wide world of diving out there. First time I went to OZTek was in that job, and I met the most amazing people doing extraordinary things that they just love. People pushing boundaries and discovering exciting things. And really, diving for me in my lifetime has been a big adventure. I have met extraordinary people. I've seen wonderful things, and it has kept me enthusiastic, I think, about life. Through all the stresses and strains that life brings, and it does, it's never always brilliant, diving has managed to keep me level. It's a great leveler. When you're underwater, nothing matters. For the few minutes that you're there, it's peaceful. It's not always peaceful, but mostly it's peaceful. It's weightless. It's a fantastic thing. So I was an editor of Scuba Diver magazine for 8 years, and then I was given the opportunity to run a manufacturing distributor to barter Australia, and I did that for another 7 or 8 years. That was another area of the diving industry that I had really no clue about how it actually worked. And then after that, I thought, well, what am I going to do? I wasn't willing to give it up. It had been such a big part of my life for so long. I'd been to every OZTek, and so David was looking for someone to help. He was looking to sell it, and I thought, well, I'll use my knowledge and my contacts, and I'll keep it running. And that's what I do now. Now I have OZTek to look after, and I meet really brilliant, talented, awesome, amazing people who are loving life and doing far more exciting things than I do, but I love to hear the stories, and I will never get tired of watching others do great things and being inspired by them. And so from that pretty humble beginning, and of course I was taught properly and I never had a problem with my ears at all. You get a good instructor and all the things you worry about probably are never going to turn up, you'll be fine. But you can do as much or as little, take it as far as you want, and nobody minds. Everybody's just pleased that you're in the water and that you love it, and there's a great camaraderie around divers, and I wouldn't be without it. So thank you, Charlie, because without you pushing me, I may never have discovered this incredible sport. Thanks.